good morning, team. Morning. There we go. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat, folks, ladies and gents. Good to see you here. We've got a few of the early birds already in the house. Ashley, Alison, good morning to you guys. Great to see you. Alvin. Howdy. Welcome to a fabulous Friday. Fabulous Friday. We were going to do a bit of a finance Friday, but one of the team got caught up in Sydney. So next Friday, we'll do Finance Friday. We'll do Tax Thursdays. We might get a little bit of maybe our mojo on when it comes to a guest or two on Wealth Coffee Chats. But great to see all of you here this morning. Welcome along. I'll do the quick intros as the team are jumping on. Jason Witten's my name. Most of you know that. And if you don't, then now you do. If you're brand new around here, let us know in the chat if you're new, where you're coming in from. What are you up to today? Where are you in this wonderful country we call Australia? I'm in the Gold Coast. Beautiful day, actually. Absolutely magic day today. So looking forward to maybe a little bit later on, maybe an early mark Friday afternoon. Who knows? We do Andy Fenton, for those who may ask, as Fridays, the Wealth, Wine and Wisdom. Andy Fenton and I usually do something on a Friday afternoon. He's still in dad baby land, and we'll kick off in 2 weeks' time. Back at it when it comes to our Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, but every morning at about 10 past 8 or 10 past 9 in the southern states and some other time elsewhere, we get together and we do this thing called the Wealth Coffee Chat. And it's good to have you guys hanging around today. Let me turn on our Wealth Coffee Chat. Is it there? Other side. What about that one? There you go. You can even see it up in the corner. Wealth Coffee Chat. So, good to see you, Jeff, Aaron, Ashley, Unawesome. Not great in Canberra, mate, hey? Canberra's a bit chilly. Anyway, hopefully, well, it was raining, wasn't it? 4 degrees yesterday. Woo! Well, it was meant to be summer or spring or something. Anyway, there you go. Great to see you. Hey, listen, today I thought we'd talk about, where is the wealth at? Where is all the money in Australia? In the world of wealth, in the Australian marketplace, the majority of money, wealth for people, is parked in 4 places. I said it in the introduction here earlier on the headline this morning: residential real estate, commercial real estate, the Australian stock market, the whole of the Australian stock market, and an Australian super fund, right? They're the 4 places of wealth storage. The majority of Australians keep their wealth and grow their wealth. Tell me in the chat, do you know where the most wealth is stored in Australia, in the Australian marketplace? Tell me, what do you think? Out of those, residential real estate, the Australian stock market, commercial real estate, and super funds in Australia, where do you think that money is stored? The majority of Australians' wealth, where do you think they keep it? Good question. Put that in the chat for me. Your guess. Give it a crack. Where do you think the money's at? Someone says super. A lot of money in super. Australian super is one of the largest super funds in the world. It'd be awesome if it was in my bank account for sure, Steve. Yeah, lots of dollars. Aaron's going residential maybe. Super, says Janice. Alison says property. All right, well, it's interesting nobody said the Australian stock market, which I would have thought would have been up there. But according to some information I recently happened upon, I hope you can see that okay. A little bit hard to read those words, but I'll read them out for you. The Australian residential market, residential real estate, 9.9.8. Oh, that's not very good, is it? Oh, let's do this. Let's see. There we go. All right, 9.8. 9.8. $9.8 trillion in the Australian residential real estate market. For me, I think that's great. That's great. For all of us, there is often an opportunity for what I would call safety in a marketplace, which is safety in numbers often in that sort of space. What comes next? Who knows where the money's at, right? Where the money's at. The next biggest place of storage of people's wealth, right? Of people's wealth is in the Australian superannuation system, folks. $3.4 trillion. Isn't this fascinating? I think it's fascinating. 9.8 trillion in residential real estate, 3.4 trillion in the Australian super system, and coming in third is the Australian stock market. Like what? And then coming in lucky last is 1.2 trillion for the commercial real estate. Now, for us as property investors, or investors in general, we need to think about, it blows me away, Mark. When we think about this, I would have thought the stock market would have been way up there, but the residential real estate market dwarfs it by almost four times its value, which is pretty interesting in Australia. So let's have a look at what things look like when it comes to household wealth, right? Household wealth held in housing, and it says there, I'll draw it out so it's a bit easier. 57.3% of our wealth, 57.3% of the Australians' wealth is held in our real estate, right? So there you go. When we're thinking about these things, right, we're thinking about, all right, well, how do I get some, how do I manage my portfolio? Does it make sense? That's true, Alison. Real estate underpins, wealth across, most of the world when it comes to where money's at. The challenge for real estate, it can be, what's the challenge for real estate? When we grow our equity, we've had some challenges of recent times. When we grow our equity, it can get stuck in our real estate, right? It can get stuck in our real estate, and we think about, all right, how do we accelerate? How do we do these things when it comes to building our portfolios and creating our wealth? So let's have a little talk about what that looks like this morning. And I want to talk to you about in that vein right there, where's the wealth at over here, right? How can we, and you guys may have seen this once or twice before, how can we build a strategy, a system around this? Yeah, Marcus. Hey, who's the richest? They've overtaken the church. Who owns the most land? Who owns the most land in the world? And there's probably not the right question. What's the biggest private land owner in the world, other than like governments owning national parks and stuff like that, or whatever? Who owns the most real estate in the world? And the Catholic Church is second now. Who owns more real estate than the Catholic Church? Chris, McDonald's, folks. The king, probably, Mark. According to a number of articles, other than kings and the royal families and those sorts of things, McDonald's, ladies and gents. Hey, there you go. But think about this. As we go, there are four things we can think about when it comes to these places of wealth, right? Where the money's stored, Where's that money stored, and how can we benefit from those things? How can we benefit from those? And I'll just get on with it, right? Number one, from an efficiency point of view, wealth created in residential real estate has some things. Number one, your principal place of residence, PPR, is capital gains tax free. You guys know this. We've talked about this. Your principal place of residence, unlimited capital gains tax free. The strategy, tell me what the strategy is. You guys have heard me say this before. No tax on your principal place of residence if you buy and sell it, you know, semi-irregularly. What's the strategy? What do we call this strategy? To take advantage of the residential real estate wealth in our principal place of residence. Put it in the chat for me right now. It's our PPR upgrade strategy. Boom. Right. So it's our upgrade strategy. All right. If you've got $1 million property now or an $800,000 property now, over a 20 to 30 year period, if you upgraded that 3 to 4 times, you could go from it being in a neighborhood that's $1 million neighborhood. And if you upgraded strategically, you could end up in a neighborhood that would be $3, $4, $5 million neighborhood in 20 years time in comparison to one you might be in now. Okay. Or the property you are in now is under maximized, highest and best use for the piece of real estate, right? So if you didn't want to move and you had a good piece of land, or you were located well, what could you do with the PPR upgrade strategy? Tell me, instead of selling and moving, what could you do? Tell me in the chat. Maximize the value where you are. What would you do? You would knock it down and maximize its value in situ. If you've got a 3-bedroom house, knock it down and build a 6-bedroom house. If it's an old property, knock it down and build a brand new one. Knock down, rebuild. Boom, boom. Absolutely, team. No stamp duty, no inefficiencies, and you're maximizing the wealth in your location, okay, as you go. My PPR right now, I'm in exactly that same that spot. I've got an acre of land. My whole neighborhood has just accelerated in value insanely. My house is getting a little bit tired now, and if I knock down and rebuild my house, I would add a significant amount of value to my property. Now, I've got a little strategy. I'm building a really nice penthouse in Brisbane right now. That'll be ready in a 1.5 years' time. I'm going to move into the penthouse and then I'm going to renovate my house. So boom, boom, away we go. So what's your PPR upgrade strategy? Tax-free, team. Again, investment property. So investment properties here, we can do some wonderful things in investment property. We get tax deductions, we get passive income, you know, and then you get, you know, equity/growth, right? Okay, so that's the residential space. Let's go back and have a look at where's the wealth at. Where's the wealth at? The next biggest place where all the wealth is at, team, is in the Australian super system, right? Tell me about super. You guys should know this, and if you don't, listen up, because someone's going to tell us what is an amazing benefit of understanding how to create wealth using the vehicle of super. Tell me what is absolutely awesome about super. It's not awesome when the bloody government tries to get their grotty hands on it all the time. So SMSF, yeah, but Mark, so SMSF, super, whatever it is, inside of that vehicle, which we call super SMSF, what's the benefit? Why would we put our money or our assets or our value in there, you know, and then the government can mess with it or whatever? What would be, boom, Chris is on it. Ladies and gents, zero tax in retirement. So zero tax, zero CGT, and zero income tax in retirement, up to a value, team, of 1.7 million, and that's going up with inflation, by the way. It's indexed. It was 1.6 not so long ago. Now it's 1.7. Right, $1.7 million worth of assets tax-free. Woo, that is awesome. Let's do that, right? Okay. So we got tax-free, we got tax-free. This is why, when we look at this stuff and we go, that's where the money's at. What are we going to do about it? Here's our strategy. We wrap our strategies around this, right? As we go. Right, third, the Australian share market. Well, I'm not a share guy, but what I do know in the world of business, if you're a business owner, there's a couple of things in here that we could dovetail into this as we go along, right? Our tax minimization strategies when we have a look at what we're up to. If we have a look at business, that's what the share market's all about. You can have, team, business, you can have, if you qualify, up to $2 million tax-free on the sale of your business as well. Okay? So for this could be for some of our business owners listening in, or maybe in the future you're thinking of starting a business when, a few things work out for you. Business. You could sell your business value for $2 million if you qualify, and there's a tax-free portion for business owners. $2 million tax-free. Pretty sweet, right? So for some of you, you should have not only these two strategies playing hard and fast, but you should have a business strategy as well if you're a business owner. What is the business strategy you've got, right? And the next one, commercial property. I don't know, is that how you spell it? IA? I don't know. Very bad speller I am. Listen, a commercial property, let's say your business isn't worth much. Let's say you have a small business that you couldn't sell for 100 grand. Well, you have a commercial property that you own that is attached to the business, and it can form part of your $2 million capital gains tax-free. Boom. Like that a lot. So if we think about where's the money at, where's the wealth at? The wealth is over here in residential real estate. We got that covered. We know our strategy there. Super. Where's the wealth at? There's some rules around it. Yes, the government changes it and manipulates it. You work with a really good financial planner and you can work out how to maximize the wealth on that one, right? Stock market, not my specialty, so I'm not going to opinionate on it. And then commercial real estate. I don't believe commercial real estate suits many property investors who want passive income because of the LVRs and other things, but some people like it, so it's not my specialty. But if you're a business owner, we should be creating some wealth in there, all right? So there you go. I thought that would be interesting and interesting to understand this morning. Where's the wealth at? And I was really surprised to see the stock market not as much as I thought it could be or would be. There you go. All right, team. Well, that's it from me. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted this morning. You guys be awesome. Be well. Yeah, Alison, already, and this is why I'm going to do Finance Fridays. We're already seeing lenders. This is I've been saying this for a while. We're already seeing lenders that aren't the banks reduce. What, Jason? Reduce their interest rates, ladies and gents. I'm telling you right now, the banks, all lenders have been gouging for the last 6 months. They're just gouging. They can see people are struggling to lend, and now they're adjusting their interest rates. Lending at 80% gets you 1% deduction. If you've got a bit of extra equity that you couldn't buy and get another loan for anyway, in the short term, there's a strategy there. So I'm going to do Finance Fridays for you guys. Lending is always changing. You've got to roll with it. But yeah, could be a good choice, Alison, at some point too, for sure. All right, team, that's it from me. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Join me on Monday next week for another one around about the same time. As always, if you've got something you want me to talk about, leave a comment in the chat. I'll see that later on. And yeah, remember, this thing's a marathon, not a sprint, folks. It's going to take some time. Eye on the prize, ladies and gents. And remember, buy well, don't sell. And if you're going to sell, sell strategically, either for an upgrade or a rollover to something better or a location that's more efficient for your future tax purposes. All right, that's it. Thanks, done and dusted. Over and out. Wealth Coffee Chat done. See you, folks.